Ahoy everybody, this isn't a real intro. I realised 2/3 of the way through filming this, I never stuck my mic into my phone. So I'm using my iPhone's built-in mic, which isn't as good. So apologies for the sound quality on this video. It won't be terrible, but it won't be as good as normal. Also, my phone did a funny thing as well at the roughly the same time I realised that. And during the second half, the post-listen bit, my phone just stopped, so I had to reboot it. So the camera position might have changed ever so slightly in between shots. Anyway, right, over to me. Ahoy everybody, and welcome to another in my series of videos where I listen to classic albums for the first time. And as you can see, today's listening is the Kinks of the Village Green Preservation Society. So where am I at with the Kinks? Kinks are a band I like. I would consider myself a fan of the Kinks. However, I'm still relatively discovering their catalogue. I have a 2 CD best of that I've had for a number of years. It obviously has all the hits and the less successful songs on it. But of those, I would say, in my head, are only really the hits. Since getting back into vinyl, I've been buying their records as and when. So I have a few. However, they're nearly all from later in their discography. I have their debut album, but then we go all the way to Sleepwalker, Low Budget, State of Confusion, Think Visual, UK Jive. This chronologically doesn't really fit here, but I picked up the Kink Chronicles from Record Store Day 2020, which is a selection of US single mixes, B-sides, sort of an alternate best of really, which was very good. I did pick up this Record Store Day, Drop 1, the Percy soundtrack, but I haven't listened to that yet. Yes, this is their 6th album, so this is, apart from their debut, and what I will say about all those albums is that they've all got tracks on them that I really like, possibly even love, but they've also got a lot of filler on. But it's decent enough, they're solid albums, there's rarely any duffers on them, but none of them are really standout albums. So this, apart from their debut, is really my first exploration of their classic catalogue. This was in Rolling Stone magazine's top 500 albums of all time. Both 3 times they've done that chart. It has featured. It's gradually got lower, but it's, I think last time it was number 384 from a peak of 200 something, I think, possibly even higher. Yes, I mean, I know the title track. Well, sort of title track. I think that's all I know from this. I might recognise other stuff when I hear it, but I love the title track. This is a new reissue that I bought probably now 2 years ago. It's finally come to the front of the pile. From HMV. No, it wasn't 2 years ago. It was lockdown. Start of first lockdown. I lied. In the HMV sale where I picked up quite a few of these albums. Yes, this has got a nice booklet in it. A little history of the album. And the album itself on pie. I'm presuming that's the original label. A nice replica of it. So yeah, looking forward to giving this a listen. I'm almost certain I'm going to enjoy it. It's just quite how much I'm going to enjoy it. But let's give it a spin and we'll find out. Yeah, I was right. Did enjoy that. Really great album. I've not got huge notes written for each song because I liked it. I find I write more if I don't like it because it's easier to point out what you don't like than what you do. Well, at least I find that anyway. But as usual, I'll go through track by track, brief summary. So it opens with the title track, The Village Green Preservation Society, which is the one track on here that I knew. It's just a lovely song, lovely harmonies, very British lyrics. You know, it mentions, although you got an initial mention of Donald Duck, vaudeville and variety, and later on you get Fu Manchu and Dracula, which is Irish in origin. Actually, Fu Manchu was Sexton Blake, wasn't it? So I presume that's English. But yeah, Donald Duck, vaudeville and variety, certainly of American. But then you've got Desperate Dan, Strawberry Jam, Draft Beer, Mrs. Morp, Old Mother Riley, Custard Pie, George Cross, Sherlock Holmes, and all sorts of billiards, Tudor houses, all sorts of British references, you know, very British lyrics. Musically, it's simple, but there's a nice little bit of what I call pub piano. That's sort of nearly out of tune, but not quite upright piano, tinkling away in the background, which is nice. It's catchy, it's just a great song. Track 2 is Do You Remember Walter, which definitely, I think I'm right in saying this predates ELO, but it was definitely Mr. Blue Sky. It was influenced by this track. Largely a piano-led track, but then with the band coming in on the chorus. I think it's a mellotron being used in the background, but it's nice. I like it, whatever it is. Another great song. Track 3 is Picture Book. I definitely know this. I don't think it's the Kinks version I know. I did have a quick read, and it was used on an advert, so whether it's that I knew it from, whether it's a cover version that I know it from, whether it's a song that's ripped it off that I know it from. But the guitar bass riff, which is great, that plays throughout the song, I really knew. Yeah, catchy as hell, this song. Great again, really like it. Track 4 is Johnny Thunder, and it's a slower song. At times there's a nice rasp in Ray Davies's vocals. It's got some catchy Baba Dida, or Baba Dada, I can't read my own writing. I think it's Baba Dada bits. For it. It's a song that sort of grew on me as it went on and ended up really liking it. Track 5 is Last of the Steam Powered Trains, which is a bluesy harmonica track, definite country blues vibe. I liked it a lot, but I'm not entirely sure it fitted in the theme of the album. I really liked at the end, it started to speed up like a train leaving the station. But I feel it should have ended there. But then there was another sort of verse and chorus after that, which I felt took it on a bit too long. Track 6 was Big Sky, which had a sort of psych rock vibe. Instrument used for it might be a sitar, or it might just be something pretending to be a sitar. Sort of the verses to it were spoken, and then it went into a sung section for the chorus, which I liked. Really gave me a Hendrix vibe at times, particularly. It's a song that's on the Smash Hits compilation. I think it might be The Stars That Play with Laughing Sam's Dice, but it might not be. I sort of, you know, that's the one that came to mind, but I'm not entirely convinced. Also at times, a bit of a Pictures of Matchstick Men by the Status Quo vibe as well. But yeah, liked it. Track 7, Sitting by the Riverside. The piano sound on it is, again, this upright pub piano type sound, which I liked. Sort of a music hall vibe to the song. It's definitely, you know, sort of early 20th century English song. Yeah, really pleasant song was the way I described it in my notes. At the end, there's a bit that sounds a bit fairgroundy, that's nice, and there's an accordion at the end, which is nice as well. Yeah, nice way to end the first side. Track 2. Side 2 begins with track 8, Animal Farm. This reminded me, but I'm not entirely sure that I'm right, of a Divine Comedy B-side, which is a B-side to something for the weekend. It's called Birds of Paradise Farm. And I don't know if it's just the farm bit that's associating them in my mind, but it definitely reminds me of another song in a good, you know, not in a song that's ripped it off kind of way, maybe a song that's influenced at best. It's a slight Stonesy vibe to this at points as well. Really great song. I like the way the tempo keeps changing. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Track 9 is Village Green. There's sort of a medieval vibe to this in the instrumentation. this is going to be a pretty obscure reference, but there's a track, probably my favourite track, on one of my all-time favourite albums, Sophie Ellis-Bextor's Wanderlust, called Love is a Camera. It was a single, but it did nothing, quite wrongly, because it's magnificent. But this reminds me of that song, which is a good bit. Yeah, really liked that. Track 10 is Starstruck. It's just a catchy pop song with nice lyrics. It was a single in the US. Might have been a single over here as well, but it didn't do anything if it was. It has strings on it, and for me, strings in a pop song just adds 100% to it. So I really liked that. Track 11 was Phenomenal Cat. It got an opening section which is like a Disney cartoon. You could picture an animated cat sort of moving to the music, just like in, you know, the early Silly Symphony Disney cartoons. It's a bit psyche at points. I couldn't decide what I thought about it. I didn't hate it at all. I liked it. I think over time I might love it, but at the moment I just wasn't entirely convinced by it. It's one of those tracks. Track 12 was All of My Friends Were There. I couldn't quite put into words the style of music that was played in the verses. I put music hall at first, but I don't think that's quite right. It's almost Noel Cowardly. What sort of sprung to mind was the song I've Been to a Marvellous Party, which I know best from Divine Comedy's cover version, but it's the way it's got the spoken, or, you know, half-sung verses, and then it sort of goes into, at the time, modern chorus. So in I've Been to a Marvellous Party, you know, it's the spoken bit, and then certainly in Divine Comedy's cover, because it was a party song, he decided to do modern party style, so he went into a ravey, dancey chorus. And in this, it's got that sort of sing-song no, that's still not the right phrase. I really can't, I know exactly what I mean, but I can't describe it vocally, and I'm certainly not singing it to you. But it's got that sort of spoken, sing-song spoken, musical-y 40s type verse, and then it goes into a 60s rock chorus. Well, it is 60s rock, but it's not, it's slower. It actually slows down in the chorus from a verse. It's a really pretty chorus as well. I liked it a lot. It's apologies. I know what I mean, but I just can't get this bit into words. I apologise, but I really loved it. On top of that, it's in waltz time, and I'm a sucker for a waltz, so that made me really love the song even more. So yeah, really liked that. Track 13 is Wasted... Wicked. Couldn't read my own writing. Wicked Annabella. It's got distorted rock guitar on it. It's a darker vibe to any of the other songs on the album. It was strange because at times it sounded ahead of its time, but at the same time really 60s. There's a Hendrix vibe to it in parts. I think the reason it sounds ahead of its time is because I can sort of see echoes of it in Blur, for example, and some other artists, but particularly in a way Blur. So I think that's why it sounded ahead of its time, because it was homaged, if you like, later on, certainly in the 90s. Track 14 is Monica, which has got a Latin vibe to the music. It's a nice track. It's nothing remarkable. It sort of washed over me. It didn't do much for me, but I didn't hate it. And it was nice to have a change of pace. But again, did it really fit the theme of the album, having a Latin vibe to it? Not entirely convinced. And then it ends with People Take Pictures of Each Other, which I've not written much about at all, but it's just an upbeat, a lively pop song. Nice lyrics. Nice way to end the album. So yeah, there were some tracks on there that I really loved. Quite a lot that were middling for me, but none I hated. But overall, really enjoyed the album. It's definitely one that I will play regularly. Yes, enjoyed it a lot. Not a lot more I can say about that. So as usual, I'm looking for suggestions. I've got a pile of 1, 2, 4. I've got about 10, maybe 12 more albums that I've already bought. Maybe a couple more that I haven't put in my pile yet. for this series, but I'm always looking for suggestions. Classic albums that you think I should listen to. They have to be albums on classic albums lists. I don't just want your favourite albums unless they are on those lists. I'm getting a bit lenient, to be honest. You know, I've included in my to buy list albums that are sort of on the best Irish bands ever and things like, or Irish albums ever and best Canadian albums ever and things like that. So it's getting a bit broader, but I figured I certainly include ones that are on best British albums as a Brit. So I don't see why I should exclude those, although a lot of the British ones are also on Rolling Stones lists and things like that. Anyway, so I'm being a bit more lenient, but they have to be on a list. They can't just be an album you really like if they're not on such a list. But I think you've got this by now. Leave it in the comments below. Message me on Instagram, Twitter. You can email me. It's all in the stuff down below. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say. I'm a bit tired, so you'll have to excuse me. It's, what is it, 9:15 at night, and I've been up since 5:40 this morning, so bear with me if this was a bit rambly. But thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.